FMS was the only B school interview that I could not convert. And not converting will be an understatement because I was literally insulted or humiliated. It was like an eye opener, that particular interview. It went so bad. And let me give you a bit of a context here. So I had appeared for CAT twice, CAT 17 and CAT 18. CAT 17, I had scored 99.21 percentile, and that is when I had call from IIM Indore, New IIMs, and FMS. I did not have the call from ABCL and so on. So FMS was the best call that I had, and that was the only college that I was willing to join that particular season. However, that obviously didn't happen, and the interview experience that I will be sharing here will be based on CAT 17 because CAT 18 I did not appear for the FMS interview as I had already received my Ahmedabad and Calcutta converts by then. I still remember the last question that I was asked in FMS interview, which was, which other colleges have you converted? And when I told them about IIM Indore and IIM the new IIMs, the one professor was like, why did they even select you? I mean, that was so shattering that in 2018, I just wanted to go back to FMS, tell that professor, see, this season I will convert FMS as well because of my percentile, but will not join you because I have other converts. But just kidding. I think that FMS interview was an eye opener, and that really set me up for the next season. I think in 2017, I was not very well prepared for the interviews. I thought it's just a casual conversation. And while that is like a conversation, all interviews are like conversations, but preparation definitely helps. In 2018, I was so underconfident that I prepared a lot. I took a lot of mock interviews. And I think as a result of all of that preparation, I happened to convert all the B schools that I had called from. And that's why I think that FMS interview, that shattering, that disappointment was a kind of a blessing in disguise that set me up for the next season. And now let's come to the interview experience, and I'll let you know why it went so horrible. And there's this one professor as well who is infamous for being very vocal about his opinion. So he doesn't hold back on his words when he doesn't like something. So that also is something that didn't help me there. To set the context of FMS selection criteria for you, at my time it was a little different from what it is today. There was more weightage on CAT scores, and that's why converting at 99.21 was very difficult because I belong to the GEM category, and at 99.21 it becomes difficult to convert an FMS call at that time. There was so much weightage on CAT scores. Probably above 99.5 it would have been more secure. However, 99.21 means that out of the 30 marks I think that was allocated for GD, PI, extempore and everything, I think I had to score around 28, 29, which was very difficult, which means I had to be like nearly perfect in everything, GD, PI and everything. And that meant that I had to do something extra, and that was there in my mind that I have to do a lot of things extra. I have to shine out, and that's why I tried things in the interview in the GD, which obviously didn't work out. The first round was a GD round, and our topic was that equal opportunities should be provided to everyone before India looks for development. And it went horrible because, I wanted to shine. I knew that I had to score a perfect 9 or 10 in the GD. And I think I spoke for 50% of the time, which clearly wasn't a good strategy at that point of time. And there were I think 9 people, and I spoke for 50% of the time, which clearly didn't work out. And I was asked that in the interview as well, why you were the only one speaking there and why you didn't let others speak. So clearly that was a very bad strategy. I spoke some good points there in the GD around development and this equal opportunity should go hand in hand, and spoke about certain examples like our space programs. Without that, it has been able to give so many opportunities to so many people. It improves the life of so many people in villages as well, the satellites, everything. And I gave some good points. However, because I was continuously speaking, I did move the GD in different directions as well that it shouldn't have gone. And I think that backfired. First, I spoke a lot. I didn't let others speak. I think interrupted as well, probably some people, which I was again told in the interview that you interrupted people while they were going to speak. And probably I didn't give a very good direction to the GD as well. So all in all, I think I scored 4 or 5 out of 10. I didn't even then bother to look at the final score. I don't remember that as well. But it was I think 4 or 5 only out of 10. So clearly it went pretty horrible. And after the GD, everyone who is there in that panel of the GD are called one by one in a particular room. And I think I was 4th or 5th in that particular panel. And the first question that I was asked was around the one that I mentioned, why I didn't let others speak in the GD. And clearly it set a very bad tone for the rest of the interview. And after that, in the FMS interview, I don't know if it still happens, I have to check, but there's an extemporary round that happens. It's, I think 5 marks is allocated to that, and I was given a particular topic which I don't remember exactly at this point of time. It was in 2017. I have documented all the interviews of 2018, but in CAT 2017 I don't remember everything. And it was so horrible that I didn't want to remember it as well. So I don't exactly remember the extemporary, but again, I scored, I think, 2. It didn't go so bad, but I think the interviewers were not so impressed with me, and that reflected on the extemporary marks as well. And I think it was just 2 out of 5 that I scored there. And after that, the interview started. But again, the tone was set so bad that every particular question looked like an acquisition, looked like he was trying to reprimand me. So some of the questions that I remember from the interview, first I was asked about to name some women leaders and how they are doing good in their company. I think I named Chanda Kochar and Shikha Sharma, how they have transformed ICICI Bank and Axis Bank. The story was very different at that point of time, not to confuse with the present context. But that kind of went well. However, they were constantly retaliating, saying, no, this is wrong, that is wrong, and so on. And after that, I was asked about my strengths, and I was not asked about my strengths. Rather, the question was framed in a way, do you have any strength or any quality in you that we can select you? So just let us know. And I was obviously, that was very humiliating, but I had to smile and answer them. And again, I shot myself here because I answered number crunching and puzzle solving here. And I couldn't solve the puzzle. I couldn't even proceed with the puzzle. And while I don't exactly remember the puzzle that I was asked again, however, the learning for you here is, no matter how good you are at a particular task, never answer in such question things where you can be judged at that point of time. If I answered puzzle solving, which was a very natural thing that they will ask a puzzle after that. And no matter how good I am at solving puzzles, on the day of the interview, when you are so tensed, it becomes very difficult to solve those kind of quantitative things. So always try to answer in qualitative terms or things that you cannot be judged. Never something like communication or puzzle solving, which they can judge at that point of time in 5 minutes itself. And naturally, when I couldn't answer the puzzle, the natural reaction was, see, you're not even good at thing that you claim to be. So I don't think that you have any quality in you. So again, that became a very, very big embarrassment. And I think by that point of time, my shoulders had dropped. I was totally shattered, and I don't think there was any point of recovery after that point of time. And another thing that went bad was they asked me about my future plans, and I don't know, I wanted to appear very cool or something, and I told entrepreneurship, and I had no idea and no preparation done for that particular thing. And then they started asking me questions on entrepreneurship, and I couldn't answer things. I started answering about how my family is also into traditional business, and that professor was like, you know what, you should open a shop and not pursue MBA or any higher education after this. And I could sense that other 2 lady professors who were there, they were asking that professor to calm down. He was so vocal about his opinion. They were asking him that not to say like this, but he was very vocal about his opinion, telling me, trying to prove it, that do not pursue an MBA, do not pursue any higher education if you cannot do entrepreneurship. He just wanted to throw it on my face. And by now, I think you would have realized how much my shoulders would have dropped, and I was literally begging in my mind to just leave the room. I knew that I will not be converting this call, and I just wanted to let go of this. And obviously, I don't know whether it was a stress interview or not, or whether it was really going that bad, but I could have done a bit better. But I think I had already lost it in my mind by that point of time. I was just begging to go out of the room, so there was no way I could have just taken the interview in another direction after this point of time. And if you have watched the video so far, then probably you're enjoying the experience, but do not only see this particular video where I was humiliated at every question. Do see some other good experiences as well that I have shared around IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta interviews that will make you believe that I'm not as foolish as I was made to look in this particular interview. And before we proceed with that experience, hit that subscribe button. And then the lady professor asked me a few good questions around economics, but by that time, I think I had lost it so much that I think they were also filling time by asking those questions. I could answer that, but I think probably it was in my mind as well that they were not taking me. So it felt like they were just asking those questions to fill the time. They were not really interested in my candidature anymore. But I could answer some of the economic questions, but another blunder happened there that they asked me the governor of West Bengal. And while I remembered the name, but on that particular point of time, like I just could not remember his name. I was so tensed. I clearly remember the name, but I could not answer that in the interview. I think that's an important lesson for you as well that I carried through 2018, that no matter what, if my interview is going bad, it can be a stress interview, but to improve your chances, I should not carry the burden of previous questions. Interview can turn around with a few good questions, so you should always keep that in mind. And if you carry the burden, then the question that you remember as well, probably you will not be able to answer that, and that will keep making things worse for you. And I have already told you about the last question. They asked me which colleges have you converted, and then it was like, why did they even select you? And lady professors were again like, no, calm down, and they told me that no, nothing, you can just leave. So in a nutshell, it was a disaster, but learnings leke jana, because failures are a stepping stone to success. Maybe. So learning one, never try to do something very extra special in your interviews. It's a normal conversation. Try to keep it very, very normal. Try to keep it professional, humble, and be very polite during the interviews. No matter what coaching institute says that answer, tell me about yourself like this in a very fancy way, the interviewer should remember you. No, nothing like that. Keep it very, very professional, just the way that you want to be. If you're not someone who can make those fancy statements and stuff, keep it like the way you are. And that is exactly what will work out for you. If you're going to do something extra special, you cannot sustain that for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes in the interview. Just be very decent and that will work out. Second thing is preparation is important for interviews. No matter, you might not be asked the same question that you have prepared for in the interview. However, preparation gives you that mental space, that confidence, where you will feel very confident during the interviews. And that is important because now you will be able to answer anything impromptu very, very quickly because you're feeling that kind of confidence. That will help you with other answers as well. So no matter how important preparation is or not for interviews, if you're asked the same questions or not, just remember, prepare well, because that will make you feel confident, and that is important. And the third lesson is very important. Do not lose the battle in your mind midway during the interview. I think I did that for the FMS interview, but the same thing happened with me in the Code interview next year as well, where I was not able to answer question. However, my reaction was very different. I was smiling, laughing, very confident all through the interview, very humble as well. And I think that made the difference, that even after a disastrous interview, I managed to convert it. So do not lose that battle. And also remember, no one is going to know what happened inside the interview room except you yourself. And that's when there's no need to feel embarrassed during the interview itself. Whatever happens is with you only, obviously, except if you decide to share it on YouTube someday. And that also reminds me of one scene from Tare Zameen Par, where Ishan could answer just one question in the test. However, when his friend asked him how was the test, he's like, fantastic. So no one else is going to know that, right? So develop that kind of an attitude. Do not start feeling embarrassed or lose your confidence midway between the interview. So this was all about the FMS interview experience and the learnings. Do like if you have learned something from this video. Do subscribe as well, and see you in the next one.